Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
And we are here. For folks who weren't expecting us, yes, the last hour was a little bit different from what people are accustomed to. But if you were listening to the last hour, that was our Spanish language programming, and we are returning to English language programming.
See,
there we go. And as I announced earlier this week on Dino's Night Out, this is the Torn Quadcast, a show dedicated to discussing sports, entertainment, sports, and entertainment. And I am Elliot Serrano, known around these parts as the L Train. And no, I will not be talking about politics. So don't worry, folks. It's not going to go that way. And to make sure I don't go into those waters is the co-host of the Torn Quadcast, the man who actually came up with the name of this show, Mark Fishman. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
And thanks for being here as we're putting this show together.
Yes.
I know we've had to coordinate a lot of schedules and stuff like that.
True enough, but my wife let me out. I signed all the paperwork, and I'm good for the next 90 minutes.
Well, you only need 60, so you're
90's great.
There we go. So anyway, the Torn Quadcast is another addition to the WRMN platform of shows that discuss different topics. We have the Apolitical Talk Show, which you can hear every weekday from 4 to 6. And then we have the Girl Talk with Tammy and Friends. That's in the afternoons. Out to Lunch with Matt McNeil, the morning show, Marky B's First Shift, and then, now we're doing this. We're doing the Torn Quadcast, where we're going to be supplementing the sports coverage here at WRMN with talking about professional wrestling.
The best sport.
The best sport. I'm telling you right now, for folks who are saying, why are we talking about pro wrestling? FYI, pro wrestling is in this new era of popularity and just downright, creativity. A lot of stuff that's going on out there. Add to that the WWE, which formerly the WWF, for folks who followed wrestling back in the 80s. The WWE has become a worldwide brand. They are currently broadcasting on Netflix and the USA Network. Mm-hmm. And I do believe as this show is airing, the Royal Rumble should be airing on the Peacock channel, streaming on Peacock.
Presently rumbling.
So, folks, we do not know what's going on. As this show airs, we do not know what has happened at the Royal Rumble or what is happening at the Royal Rumble. We will talk about that at the next show.
Yes.
When we have an idea, when we actually get to watch the show.
True.
Haven't watched it. So we're going to be talking about that, but not just pro wrestling. We have a little bit of geek factor here. For those who might not know, Mark Fishman is part of a publishing group called Unshaven Comics.
For obvious reasons for those watching the stream.
Yeah. us if you're watching us on YouTube, right? Unshaven Comics, although it's a bit of a misnomer because I believe there's one of the Unshaven Comics trio that actually is shaved.
Sometimes you have to wear your beard in your heart.
On your heart, but that's not good. That's ajita. If you have a hair on your heart.
Yeah, but he makes it work for himself.
That's Kyle.
Shout out to Kyle.
Kyle, who is your pitch guy.
He is our pitch guy.
I remember when I first met you guys at I want to say it was at C2E2. No, that was before C2E2. Wizard World, I met you guys.
Yep.
And we already kind of knew each other. I think we'd been communicating on social media a bit, and I wanted to meet you guys in person. And the first thing Kyle wanted to do was pitch me on your books.
Yes.
And at that point, I was like, I know you guys, and if I'll buy a book. But no, he wanted to pitch me.
It's the way the shtick works. Kyle doesn't see people; he sees heat signatures. And it's my role to inform him, like, you don't have to work on this one. We already got it.
We already got that one.
And then he'll let you go. And then the best part is if you're at our table and you're going to have a conversation with us, when you start feeling the pull as he starts pitching to the next person who's walking behind you, and you just get that, like, passive aggressive, like, get out of my way. I have things to do.
Then again, that's your escape, folks.
Yes.
At that point, if someone else comes in, you almost kind of like got to grab that person and pull them in front of you. And then I think Kyle doesn't even notice that the person in front of him has changed. He just pitches.
I don't want to dive too deep into it, but he did get at least 15 seconds into our pitch to his own brother. Didn't know it was him.
Didn't realize.
Nope.
But still, hey, you got to hustle. And that's what you guys have been doing. You guys have been publishing your own books for
15 years.
15 years.
Yes.
So with this show, what we want to do is, again, discuss pro wrestling, but we're also going to talk about other geek topics, comic books. Mm-hmm. You're a comic book creator. We're both comic book creators in a way, and I am, in my own way, a bit of a creator. I'm just a writer. I can't draw like you do.
It's all right.
No, you have a great your style. I like you to fit, and I know at some point I've been in one of the books. Have I been?
You've got a cameo somewhere.
I've got a cameo somewhere. You had me draw send you a photo of myself with a terrified expression on my face.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I'm not going to tell you where I actually took that picture.
And I don't need to know.
Let's just say I was taking care of a certain bodily function at the time.
Perfect.
And that's why I had that face.
Now go find the book.
Now go find the book, and you'll go, now you'll know.
Interesting enough.
And we'll be talking about the local comics, local pro wrestling. We do have some other folks that are going to be rotating through. Joey Roth, a local wrestling legend. He's known as the Villain.
All hail.
All hail Joey Roth. We're going to have him on the show as well. My pro wrestling manager, I actually have a pro wrestling manager, P.L. Myers of the Chicago Connection. He will be on the show. And we're going to have more local talent, more local pro wrestlers here as well.
And I'm going to promise Stone Cold Steve Austin will not be on the show.
Oh, man, you had me there for a minute.
Yeah.
You had me, then you lost me.
I could bring MJF. I'm pretty sure we're cousins.
Okay. You're going to have to convince me why MJF's such a great deal. I have
coming up.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So what we'll do with every show here is we'll lead off with some of the big stories that are going on in the pro wrestling industry. Then we will segue into the other ephemera. There are things going on in comic books right now that are of interest. Today we'll run down the WWE. We're going to talk about AEW. Folks, also stay tuned because we will be talking about the upcoming Captain America movie from Marvel Studios. There's a lot of buzz, chatter, I call quote-unquote controversy surrounding this particular film, which is not always great. Some of the talk that's going around I'm not crazy about.
Yeah.
And there is a lawsuit involving the new Superman movie. So that should be interesting. But hey, let's dive into the first.
Yes.
WWE on Netflix. What do you think of it so far?
So far, so whatever. I don't know.
Not impressed?
I mean, look, the production value, like anything WWE has, is amazing.
All right.
The show looks great. I don't have Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Now, I've caught the clips. Okay. I'm caught up. I know who's angry at who and who's fighting who.
Got it.
And I can say from my feeds, nothing really feels any different. I know that some people overseas are getting commercials still.
Oh, they're getting commercials here too.
Okay, so then, I mean, I don't know really what's changed. I haven't heard anybody complain about the quality of the stream, so I guess they solved their Mike Tyson problem.
Right.
But they also lost over a third of their audience from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah.
So we are in a renaissance, but let's keep in check that,
True.
you know, they got some people to tune in and say, oh, what's going on? I heard there's some scuttlebutt. And they go, oh, okay, it's still WWE.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But it being on Netflix, I don't know. Tell me, is there a difference between that and USA?
The first episode did have a different feel to it. Then they even talked about it. I remember when you watched it, and then Paul Levesque, Triple H, talked about it in the press conference afterwards. That everyone said it felt like a WrestleMania, and it did. It really had that big event feel. But that was the first one because it was the first WrestleMania. I mean, the first Raw of Netflix, and they talk about it's the new Netflix era and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then the following week, it just felt like Raw.
Which you're going to have to do because Raw gets all the pomp and circumstance, but SmackDown is still on the USA.
Yes.
And they didn't get the WrestleMania treatment.
No. Well, yeah, SmackDown moved from Fox to USA, which I think is a mistake.
It's a step down in terms of audience size.
Oh, definitely. Because, I mean, I loved watching SmackDown on Fox. That was a great spot.
Well, yeah, this is the first time that it left, I guess, what you would call like free TV.
Right.
So now their product is completely paywalled.
Yes.
To a degree. I mean, it's just cable, but still.
I mean, and you can, like, for me, I do catch up on the SmackDown stuff on YouTube. They'll put the clips out right away.
I do like, you know, in preparation for today, I went to their YouTube channel, and I do appreciate, now they're just like, hey, didn't catch Raw? Here's 10 minutes. Here's everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying because it's a 3-hour show.
It is. And the Raw, well, Raw tends to be maybe like 2.5. It can't push 3. The first one pushed about 3 hours. And even then I was going, man, this is going long.
Right.
But it's like they're doing this thing now where it's like the old, remember the UWF, where the stuff would happen like at the end, and Jim Ross would be, oh my God, what's going on? But we're going off the air. Like going off the air as something huge was happening.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of do that with Raw now, where something happens and it's sort of a cliffhanger, and then later on you'll see what actually happened on their social media. Like to put on the Facebook.
It's interesting, but like that's a goal, right? Like, oh, by God, we're going off the air of this streaming platform. Oh, no, the stream's going to end.
Well, it's like, it wasn't exactly like that, but they do like close the show. They do.
I would love it if there was just like a guy like Johnny Netflix that just stands in the rafters in a suit and he's just like ticking off his watch.
I'll see. If anybody from WWE Creative is listening to this show right now, you can use these ideas, but we want to be credited.
Yeah, I'll take 10%.
We'll take 10%. All right. So then add to that the idea that, yes, they do have commercials.
Yeah.
Here and that kind of drives me nuts.
Well, and their Ring now too, doesn't it have?
Oh yeah, it has ads all over it. Yeah, it is, and I know I do have some friends, some local pro wrestling friends. Tommy Else hates the ads on the mat. He thinks it's like desecrating the mat.
I mean, he's not wrong. If you're really old school, they've always had a clean ring. The ring side has had ads running.
Yeah.
They've had,
and I remember when they started doing that, people didn't like that.
Sure.
Yeah, and they started putting little ads on the bumpers, like the
right on the turnbuckles
and the columns. Yeah.
Yeah, and the ring apron. They've basically found every which way to put an ad. But I understand Triple H's counter to that. He's like, well, we're trying to evolve the look of what we're doing to mimic real sports.
Yes.
So this is not like, it's funny. He's trying to be like hipster about it. He's like, we're only adding these to the ring because of, the essence we want to give.
But I mean,
the $100 million you pay for us too doesn't hurt.
Well, yeah. And let's be honest. And they'll tell you it's about making money.
Sure.
That's what it is. It's about making money. So if you're going to go the NASCAR route, I can see again how a lot of old school folks don't like it. But I said on my buddy Tommy Else's page, I go, it's like when people complained about the ads up on the walls up on the Ivy at Wrigley Field.
Sure.
But Fenway Park did it.
They do. You know what? I think we should just lean into it. I can't wait for the War Raiders sponsored by some beer.
Well, it was Brock Lesnar was sponsored by Jimmy John's for the longest time, which CM Punk himself said it was his idea. He was told he couldn't do it, and then
they gave it to Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar was allowed to do it. Yeah,
I mean,
it's funny.
To be fair, are you going to get into an argument with him?
No, especially when he makes the money that he does. Makes you the money that he does. All right, so WWE Raw on Netflix. Let me go back here. I mean, we're not going to edit this out. This is a live recording.
We're live, folks.
It's a live recording, right? Live to tape.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah. The WWE Raw on Netflix. It's like, I don't know. I know some people aren't crazy about it because they were expecting something different. I think they're doing what you're going to do. It is different from when it was on USA before.
Okay.
And they take a little more liberty. Like when Penta debuted, they gave him a good amount of time after his match with Chad Gable to kind of like address the crowd, and his family was at the ringside.
So you get a little bit more like I'm viewing a live event.
Yes.
Okay, that's worthwhile.
That was kind of nice.
If they can do stuff like that, there's definitely an advantage to it. I would just question. I mean, this is more on Netflix than the WWE. Now the onus is on Netflix to get more people to watch. You know, they already have their audience. So if you're Netflix, are you now fighting for more eyes of your existing membership, or are you trying to get new eyes to Netflix, period?
They're trying to get the international audience is what they're doing. I mean, I think they've reached a saturation point with American audiences. Now they're talking about Netflix gets them into all the other countries.
They might as well, because WWE's roster is basically one of everything.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is good and bad.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well.
I mean, let's say we have our 5 British guys over here. We have our 1.5 Irish guys over here.
Literally 1.5. That
more
other guy's
Finn Balor.
Yeah.
I'm almost curious if he doesn't want to. That could be his new gimmick. He could fight from a Snuggie on Sheamus.
Wow.
I
can picture that too.
Just leaps off his shoulders. It would work. And if you get like Pete Dunne and any other Brit, they could just stand on each other's shoulders and wear a trench coat. And they could be like one American-sized wrestler.
Or they could be wearing a raccoon mask.
Yes, just don't call him Butch.
All right, so let's switch gears for a moment here and talk about AEW, because AEW is now streaming on HBO.
It is, but it's not exclusive.
No, it's just an extra. Like was it the TNT or the TBS?
You're still on TNT and TBS, I think.
But they're broadcasting it also on HBO.
Yeah, they
Max,
simulcast it.
Which is my thing, because I was like, okay, I want to watch. This is the first time I have been able to watch the AEW product, and I watched the first. Was it the AEW Impact? Was it Impact?
Dynamite?
AEW Dynamite. I watched the first one.
Oh, like the very, very first one?
On HBO Max. The first one that they showed on HBO Max.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I'm there going,
weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. And I'm thinking, oh, they know they're on a new platform, so they're going to catch everybody up or do a nice intro thing and then put all your best guys on there. No. I kept wanting to see MJF. MJF was like in a video clip.
Yeah.
I'm like, talk about dropping the ball.
Oh, yeah, they did.
I'm like, come on. It's like you're bringing in you're getting new eyes on this now. And you essentially brought everybody in the middle of the story. And I'm like, it didn't even look great. It looked pretty much like, not to denigrate Ring of Honor, which was great live.
Yeah.
But it looked like a Ring of Honor show.
And that's just the thing with AEW. In the last, I want to say 6 months, there has been, it's basically like an admission of, hey, we know our place now. And they have stopped going to the big arenas. Right. And they are starting to just say, you know what, we'll be happier filling a smaller arena or going to towns that don't have that big, center. So like they're going to, and again, not denigrating any other towns out here, but hey, we're live from Huntsville, Alabama, in whatever arena the Huntsville College plays in. So their TV production looks less than. And them coming in on HBO Max, I think it was kind of dropped on them. Like, oh, by the way, we're going to put you up. And rather than somebody in the production office going like, hey, we should like make a big deal about it, like you're saying, they're just like, whatever. It's there. And
Yeah.
it seems like what they did do, though, since announcing it, is they started to backfill all of their previous events. So I think they're treating it like the WWE Network, which, as a fan, I like that. Now, if I were not on cable but had Max, would I go to CAW? Probably not. I wouldn't even know who they are,
Right.
to be fair.
But again, that was their new, because HBO Max was making a big deal of it being on there. Like it was featured on the Coming Now, and they did the nice big graphic, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun.
And then somebody dropped the ball in that office.
Man, but unfortunately, it seems like that tends to happen more often than not.
Well, they've been on a steady decline, and again, I prefer them over WWE.
Yeah.
But I also have a feeling like something's happening. They're getting their sea legs back, and I feel like with the next major title change, there's going to be something significant for them. I just think in their booking right now, they're trying to work their way out and figure out who their stars are really and who's going to face them, because they have like a very diverse, interesting roster, but it's a lot of young and a lot of old. So there's not those like mid-card, mid-career guys just hitting their peak.
Right. I was listening to Jonathan Hood and the crew on Good Karma Wrestling. By the way, WRMN, now part of the Good Karma brand of stations. We will be broadcasting the Chicago White Sox in 2025. So shout out to Good Karma. And Jonathan Hood with Good Karma Wrestling had that very criticism of AEW, that all the big names right now in there are former WWE guys. There aren't any, like they don't have any of the younger, they're not moving the younger guys up.
They're not, they've all had tastes. And I'm not sure, because the book is solely with Tony Khan. Tony Khan is the guy who puts together the matches and helps decide who's, the big bads. And that's very true. And it's weird because early in their tenure, they were really pushing the new stars. And I'm not sure what happened, because as a fan, the matches were fantastic. The angles were great, memorable. It was a totally different product from WWE. And I feel like something changed somewhere, and now they're kind of figuring out, again, like, who are we going to invest in? And at the same time, I think Tony Khan is such a big fan of the older wrestlers that he's afraid. You can see that he's like, I got to give these guys their due before they're way out. Like, one of the big things right now, the storyline is Jeff Jarrett is retiring.
Yeah, I saw that bit, yeah.
And, like...
Or he's supposed to retire, but he wants to have one last run.
This is his last ride.
Like John Cena's last ride.
Right, which, no offense to Jeff Jarrett, but what a time to pick it.
I know.
It's a little, it's more than a little sad.
Yeah.
But...
Well, it's like when you have two movies of the same topic coming out, like you have Deep Impact and Armageddon. You have the Michael Bay version of Meteor hitting the planet and the, Pierce Brosnan version.
Right.
So it's like, which one is AEW?
In this case, it's whichever one was only shown on 4 screens and watched by 3 people. Yeah. I mean, and look, Jeff Jarrett is not a name. He wasn't a name when they brought him in. He's not a name now. But MJF being paired with him in this angle is all for the better. It proves my point continuously that MJF knows what he's doing. And he's going to make Jeff Jarrett look like $1 million and then beat him senseless.
All right, if you say so. I'd like them to show it on HBO Max, though.
It will be
at some point. I've yet to see MJF actually wrestle.
Well, he's actually filming, which is why he's not in the ring.
Yeah, I know he's on a movie, right?
Waterboy 2.
Yeah, Waterboy 2.
He's one of Adam Sandler's sons.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we're going to dive into the MCU. Captain America, Brave New World, and Superman Legacy. So stick around, and we'll be right back.
When it comes to real estate, you want the best. Choose RE/MAX, the #1 name in real estate. Located at 113 West Oak Knoll Drive in Hampshire, Illinois, RE/MAX leads the industry in brand awareness and provides comprehensive services, residential, commercial, leasing, and investment solutions, all tailored to your needs. With innovative marketing and cutting-edge tools, RE/MAX helps you find your dream property or sell faster. At RE/MAX, they take a client-centered approach, offering personalized strategies to achieve your real estate goals. Ready to get started? Call them today at 847-683-9200. That's 847-683-9200. Or visit their website at ildealmakers.com to begin your journey. RE/MAX Dealmakers, making real estate simple and successful.
Are you ready to take your brand to the next level? Image 360 South Elgin is your ultimate destination for custom signs and visual communication solutions. Looking to rebrand your office interior? Need striking vehicle wraps or decals for your fleet? Or perhaps you're in the market for a standout trade show display? At Image 360 South Elgin, they've got you covered. As your full-service custom sign and graphics partner, they deliver bold solutions and exceptional support. From outdoor signage to eye-catching store signs, indoor graphics to comprehensive branding solutions, they have the experience to elevate your brand's presence. Trust Image 360 to create a long-term partnership that gives your brand 360 degrees of exposure. Visit them at 506 Sundown Road in South Elgin. Image 360 South Elgin. Bold solutions, exceptional support.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
And we are back. This is the Torn Quadcast on WRMN 1410. I am Elliot Serrano, joined by my co-host, Mark Fishman. And I'm telling you, there's this thing that I've learned that happens when I'm doing a show. It's that during the break, the conversation you have while, the producers are putting together all the ads and the show is sometimes better, but it is saltier. The language is saltier.
A little bit. I apologize. I shouldn't have sworn that much.
No, I was, I was with you on that. I was like, so
I was trying to fit in the 7 words you can't say on radio.
Well, there are actually more words than that you can't say. I've learned that the hard way in experiencing that. But anyway, so if you're just tuning in, the Torn Quadcast is the show where we discuss sports entertainment, sports, and entertainment. You see
So
what I
catchy.
did
I
there?
should put on a shirt.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's funny because when I pitched this to Dean Delaley and Dennis Green, they're our chief engineer, station manager, producers, everything. When I said Torn Quadcast, both of them gave me a look like, what? Like they didn't get the pun.
I mean, it's a little insider, for sure.
Oh, way inside.
Okay, maybe it's way inside, but yeah. Well, that's okay. If you don't understand it, that's all right. We'll have a show page eventually. You can come on there. We'll explain it.
You explain the Torn Quadcast. Because the thing is, we'll be honest, there are other shows that discuss pro wrestling.
Plenty.
There are a lot of shows that discuss pro wrestling.
Yes.
You have Bully Ray's got his own show.
Oh, every ex-wrestler automatically gets.
You'll have Maven's got one.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's been kind of interesting. Eric Bischoff's got his show.
Yes.
So when
Undertaker, Austin.
Steve Austin. Steve Austin's is good though. His podcast
is always
very good. He is very good at that. I am kind of really impressed when these guys get out of the ring and then they go into other aspects of media and they prove to be very adept at it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, shout out to Taz at AEW. He got out of the ring mid-career because he got that warning, and I think he's always been a really competent announcer.
Yeah.
One of my favorite. I was trying to go back and think about the WWE booths, plural, and think like which ones, because everyone knows the famous one is Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross.
Jim Ross.
And no offense to both of those men, they're great in their own worlds, but I can't stand the King on the mic. In the Attitude Era, so many woohoos and
puppies. Yeah,
right.
I get it. Yeah,
and maybe that was the shtick, but
right.
it wore on me. And no offense to the man, but Michael Cole to me puts me to sleep.
Well, Michael Cole over time has kind of become JR Light
to a degree. I mean, he's had to hold that down, but I guess maybe this puts me too insider, but my favorite is Joey Styles, the one-man booth of ECW.
Okay.
Because, I mean, that guy had to hold it down.
He did, yeah.
And I like that he would call moves, and he sold it in the booth as sports entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't like when the booths get too into the storyline and you have, like, the obvious heel who's always doing, like, it's good every now and again, right? Like they do it a little bit. Nigel McGuinness is the color commentary on the Saturday show for AEW. And it's funny, he's pretty much down the middle until there's a wrestler he doesn't like. And then he is all in heel. And that's the funniest stuff I've ever heard. Like, I've never heard a commentator that through the entire match is like every time the guy like trips, he's like, look at that guy.
Well, that's why I remember. Well, it's funny because WWE is bringing that back with the Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yeah.
And they have Jesse the Body coming back.
Which was great.
And he is heel. He's a heel announcer.
He is.
But he's really good.
He's always been that way. But like him and Heenan.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. I remember as a kid, oh, my God, I hated Bobby the Brain.
Oh, yeah.
I did. I hated him. But he was so good at pushing your buttons.
He's so sharp.
So good. He was. And shout out to P.L. Myers, the Shot to the Top, my own pro wrestling manager, who wrote a book and had Bobby the Brain Heenan write the foreword to his book.
Brilliant.
As a wrestling manager. P.L. Myers will be on this show. I've been talking to him. I want to get him on. The guy's a big name. It's all these people. They got things to do. They do. I mean, I'm surprised they got you.
Well, don't be that surprised. It turns out if you spend a week with your beautiful 3-year-old toddler, you'll take literally any excuse to leave the house.
Well, hey, I have an 8-year-old at home.
I've got one of those too, but that one can kind of take care of himself. It's really at this point, I'm just in video game management mode for my boys.
There you go.
I just have to look at the timer and answer their. Sadly, 2 of my boys now have instant message capability.
Oh, goodness.
And neither of them have mastered it.
Dad, snacks. Bring us snacks.
Oh, Dad, can I have more video game time? And then they'll send me 17 different emojis over the course of 10 minutes. And it becomes less about answering their question and way more about me telling them this is not how this works.
Okay.
Meanwhile, my wife and I are like sending TikToks to each other. So,
Yeah.
I digress.
That's fine. Yeah, the Fishman family is a beautiful family, and if you're fortunate enough to get on their mailing list, you get a wonderful Christmas card each year. That's a different one every year, featuring the kids, the family, all of you.
Oh, there's a whole narrative. It's worth it. And to qualify, you simply need to say something nice to me, and then I will beg you for your address.
How much would you charge me to make to do a card for me, like with me in it?
Friends and family discount goes right down to free $99. So
awesome. Okay, well I'm
a Superman like that.
Okay, I'm gonna hit you up for that.
Did you pick up that?
I did.
Passed that over to you.
That was a great. Thank you for the segue. I also appreciate that.
Thank you for the check.
And hey, speaking of Superman, there are some big movies coming out this year. I believe there are 2 Marvel movies. We've got Captain America, Brave New World, and Thunderbolts with an asterisk.
Right.
Which
that's this year, and then next year's Fantastic Four.
Next year's Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be too much.
Yeah. But Thunderbolts, again, with an asterisk, which there is something having to do that. And I have this feeling that they're going to pull a fast one, and it's not going to be Thunderbolts. It's going to be Dark Avengers.
I mean, they're going to pull something, I'm sure. I mean, if you know who the Thunderbolts are in canon, clearly there's something going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at the roster. They're all anti-hero, quasi-villain. I mean, who cares? It's going to be funny.
Yeah, it's going to be, And the trailers already look like fun.
Yeah, I mean, anything David Harbour does is pretty much gold to me. And him in this role.
And I miss Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Man, he's been doing a lot of great stuff outside of the MCU, and I'm very happy for him.
Yes.
But I mean, I do miss him in the MCU as Bucky.
Well, they've all said it. You do the MCU movie so that you can afford to go do the independent stuff.
Yeah, so you can do play Donald Trump and something else.
Get all your awards.
Yeah.
Then go back to falling down on a green screen.
Yeah. Well, was it the Nicolas Cage thing? That's what he would say. He makes these mainstream big budget blockbusters so that he can then do so he does a National Treasure, so then he can do Leaving Las Vegas or whatever.
Right. I mean, it's funny though, he's kind of turned into his own self-parody, but that's...
Hey, you know what? You gotta Nicolas Cage gotta eat.
I'm sure he's doing fine.
And I'm going to tell you, if I were that, I would not criticize. I would not, if I had, that, I'll do jobs.
I mean, I'm watching his stuff. I'm not complaining. I'm just thinking how close are we to him just Nick Nolteing himself?
Oh, goodness. I don't wish that.
Because, I mean, we remember last time I've seen him in anything was the Hulk movie where I don't even think they had written anything in the script. He just showed up demanding that he's the absorbing man.
And then he he improvised a bunch of stuff.
Right. I don't even think they use CGI to turn him into a cloud. I think that he's just capable of doing it. He just came on set and he's like, guys, I got a great idea. I'm going to turn into a cloud.
After biting a giant cable of...
Right, I'm going to turn it. I'm going to actually. I want to be 5 of the Hulk villains in this one. Is that okay? And they're sure, yeah, whatever you say, Nick. Just please don't kill Eric Bana.
No,
the actor. We've insured him.
How did we go from trying to introduce a Superman movie to Nick Nolte?
I don't know. Well, you know what? I said Superman, but then realized you wanted to talk about Captain America first.
Well, I was trying to go through it, and then it was
right.
Boom, boom, boom. But there we go. But yeah, we're switching gears mad here, but that happens. That's what happens when you just, you
put 2 nerds together in a room. This is what happens.
And this is when you go from live to tape,
right?
It's not, live to live. It's live to tape, but whatever. The Captain America movie with,
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. I keep wanting to call him Howard Mackie, but Howard Mackie's the editor at Marvel.
Right.
Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson playing Captain America, and we're getting the baloney, not my Cap talk on social media.
I mean, they're still playing this, right?
Yeah.
Because they're mad, I'm guessing, from way back to Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes, that it should have been Bucky.
Right.
Yeah, but I preferred Bucky. I wonder why.
I can't think of a single reason.
Yeah. I mean, the whole Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think, pretty much set up the reasoning why Sam Wilson is Cap and not Bucky.
I mean, never mind the fact that old Cap literally hands the shield to Sam and practically stares down the barrel of the camera. He's like, "You are Captain now."
Yeah, you're it. And Bucky was a former Russian assassin.
Right.
Although maybe the people who really want Bucky to be Captain America are trying to say something.
Duh.
I want the former Russian asset to be the symbol of America.
Yeah, he seems the right color for the role. I mean, it's preposterous, but I hate that kind of stuff permeates this popcorn blockbuster stuff. And look, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I particularly love the idea of them having to mash up Falcon as Cap, but he's sold. Anthony Mackie is all charisma. I literally, not for this show, just because in my daily watching, I just rewatched Captain America: The First Avenger, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Those are good. The Winter Soldier is probably the best.
It's one of the best, and that's where we are introduced to Sam.
Right.
And like, it's so interesting how quickly he goes from running buddy to literally suiting up and willing to sacrifice himself for the cause. And that makes so much sense to the character if you watch those movies in order, where they were cognizant of the greater MCU, but they were really about Steve Rogers. You could see why he would hand the shield to him and not Bucky, and it was never supposed to be Bucky. And it goes back to what Erskine told him in the beginning. It is about the heart.
Yes.
You know, and no offense to Bucky. Bucky he's on this, path, right, to undo some of the wrongs, but that ledger is tainted.
Oh, it is.
He can't, by virtue of that, he could never hold the shield. It's like Nightwing being Batman. It's great for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then give it up.
Because he can't do the gravelly voice.
No,
like
he
Bruce
can't.
does.
No, but you could use a voice changer. I don't imagine, like, the MCU is so up right now. I'm really just curious, like, how long will Sam hold that? Or, what are we going to get here? Because I'm pretty sure Chris Evans got the exit, like,
that he wanted. He's out. Yeah. And but there were rumors that he's coming back for Doomsday, and he's come out and said, no.
I sure hope not.
Happening.
Like
no.
that. I mean, more so than Robert Downey Jr., who hilariously got the ending twice.
Yeah.
And needs to come back. But I think that's another show.
I don't know if that is another show, but I will say, I don't know if he needs to come back. I think they just pretty much convinced him to come back.
Well, yeah. It might have something to do with Kang, but what do we know?
But
no complaints about that.
And again, the Sam Wilson was Captain America in the comics, and I think in those movies, in a couple movies, and in Falcon and Winter Soldier, they were able to do with Sam Wilson what it took like a year and a couple years run of the Sam Wilson character as the Falcon, to really establish him as the heir apparent.
It makes sense. And then, there's no controversy over this, but I'm deadly curious about your specific opinion. What do you think of Harrison Ford?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because this is my one beef with it, okay? Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk. Man, did they drop the ball on that Marvel Legends figure. It looks nothing like Harrison Ford.
No, not even close.
I'm like, why couldn't they make it look more like Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk? All they had to do is put the little scar on the chin, and it would have looked like it. No, that Marvel Legends figure looks nothing like Harrison Ford. That ticks me off because I was ready to get that figure and dress him up, get a little indie outfit for him and a fedora and do like Red Hulk Indiana Jones. Nice. And then he would join all my other Harrison Ford figures like the Han Solo, the Black Series of Han Solo, the Adventure Series, Indiana Jones, and go from there.
Of all the things to pick out, that's the most Elliot.
That's the thing that ticked me off.
Worthwhile. I mean, I'm very curious how they're going to pull this one off or why, because the comic canon wouldn't make sense in terms of the film. And I mean, I don't know if I'm the one wrong here, but I kind of wish they had. I mean, I guess they had to sell this movie with him becoming the Red Hulk. They couldn't hide that. Yeah,
because everyone knows in the comics he becomes a Red Hulk. And although he did lie to a reporter when they were doing, he was doing the press on some other thing, they go, "Oh, you're going to be, Red Hulk in the new movie." And he went, "What do you mean? I've never heard of that." I go, "Man, he was good. That was a good lie."
It should have. I wish I would have held it, but I mean, I guess to say it's the marketing buzz. But like, I'm the comic nerd going, "You're burying the real lead to me, Samuel Stearns, the leader."
Well, yeah, and then he's in it too.
And it makes clear that what happened in the Incredible Hulk movie,
right,
the Ed Norton one, is canon.
Is canon, yes.
So all of that happened, and I mean they've alluded to it. They talked about him destroying Harlem and all that.
Yeah.
But like now we get that we're finally getting that paid off. Right. And I just saw the leaked of the standee of it. It's a good interpretation.
No.
Like he didn't go green, but they still got everything right.
My theory is that the reason Thunderbolt Ross as president has the Hulk serum in him, or the Hulk bit, is in case someone tries to assassinate the president. That's like to protect him from assassination.
It's an interesting take, and again, I'm sure it has something to do with Sam Stearns.
Or it could be wrong too.
There's 100 ways it could be there. Yeah. It'll be interesting because I do like the character of Red Hulk because he, like Smart Hulk, isn't just a rage monster, that there's a brain controlling this thing.
Yeah.
And this will be an interesting take.
But Red Hulk was kind of like Deadpool. He was constantly breaking fourth walls. And
Right.
Like
I mean, they went from
in the comics, at least. Yeah.
I mean, the comics with Hulk it's funny. He is such a major character, but man, they have messed him up. And, you know, Betty Ross is the Red She-Hulk.
Yeah. Let's all be Hulk.
Yeah.
And as Andy Warhol once said, in the future, everyone will be a Hulk for 15 minutes.
Right.
Something like that.
I'll take it.
Will everyone be a Superman, though?
No.
No.
Well, I can think of some family members who won't.
Well, okay. So before we go, because we're up against the clock here, we do have the new Superman film coming out in July, Superman Legacy.
Yes.
Which has generated a lot of buzz. The trailer with the introduction of Crypto, the most watched video on YouTube for DC Studios.
Absolutely.
Like how many millions of views are on it, and people have just loved it. I'm telling you, I love it too.
Yeah.
And then they've already put out the merchandising for it. There is a hoodie on there that I gotta have.
Is there a Crypto hoodie? Or?
It's Superman and Crypto.
Nice.
And it says, "Take me home" or "Bring," something like that. And I've just got to have that at some point. But unfortunately, there's a bit of a darker side to what's going on, which is the Siegel and Schuster estates. The gentleman who created Superman, who back in the day were exploited, ended up selling the rights to Superman for like $65 each.
$175
for the two of them, which would then go on to make national publications. The publisher of the Superman comics, like, made them millionaires.
Right.
And we're talking. There's even a record of Jerry Siegel writing the president of that company, a letter saying, how can you be doing this to us? My family, we're struggling, we're poor, we're destitute, we have nothing, and you can sit there and not do anything and not help me at all. And he even said, when I die, I will haunt you from the grave. I mean, that is some serious. As a Jewish person, does that work?
You'll find out.
Well,
later.
So the copyright laws. In overseas, in Canada and Europe, have reverted to the Siegel and Schuster families.
Yes.
As I said, the last 25 years after the passing of the creator, then the copyright laws refer to whomever. But Warner Brothers and DC Studios are contesting that.
Sure. Evil overlords being evil overlords, I'm shocked.
Well, to me, I find it so disappointing, especially when you look at. Okay, so like on the Marvel side, Marvel has kind of gone to some lengths to give credit to creators for characters.
Sure.
Right? And even on the DC side, there was, I think it was when Paul Levitz was there and Jeanette Kahn, they wanted to recognize creators as well.
Well, they absolutely did. My friend and yours, John Ostrander, creator of the Suicide Squad, jokes constantly that Paul Levitz wanted to do this deal for him, and while the Suicide Squad banked on all of these legacy characters, there was a new one invented for that series, Amanda Waller. And John Ostrander has partial rights to her, so every time she shows up, he gets paid.
Yeah.
Which is the right way to do it.
Right way to do it. I mean, I've done work for hire, and I mean, I've created characters work for hire, and I mean, that's the price of business, I guess. But in this particular case, it's just so obvious that the Siegel and Schuster estate. I mean, okay, I'm going to try to keep this clean here because I'm going to repeat now here on air what I said to Mark off air about this whole situation, and it really much has to do with the chatter on social media and on message boards and on the comment sections for these articles that talk about this. And some guy goes, well, if the Siegel and Schuster estate get any money, we're all going to lose. To which point I want to say, are you bleeping kidding me?
Right.
Like, why are you why are you? I don't get this kowtowing to megacorps that make billions of dollars.
Right.
It's like I don't see a difference between those guys. See, now I'm going into the political part. That these guys who talk about, well, I'm DC and Marvel, and they want to have DC and Marvel make them movies for them, but they don't want anyone else getting money. That's like saying the Elon Musk worshippers. Who will sit there and go, oh, well, Elon, if you criticize Elon Musk, they jump all over you, even though Elon Musk is not really the sharpest knife in the drawer.
I mean, yeah, but if you tried to drive a Cybertruck into water?
No,
Yeah.
I heard you can do that, though.
You can for 3 seconds. You glide. But, I mean, to your point, like, these companies have billions with a B,
Yes.
and the families that they're not sitting there saying,
No.
I demand 90% of the rights,
No.
because there is an argument to counter here to say, look, the originators of this character are long gone. And I would even go so far as to say that the original design and feel of Superman is so far different than what DC has.
Correct.
And that transformation legally must mean, like, hey, you deserve something. Not everything, but something.
Yeah.
And for the companies to like chase their purse strings, come on. It's a little ridiculous because they are about to make just a fat wad of cash on this movie.
Yeah, no, Superman Legacy looks like it's going to be their biggest one. It should be their biggest one.
Like I said, we know that James Gunn is handling the MCU from the top down like Kevin Feige is for Marvel.
The DCEU.
DCEU, whatever you want to call it. But like I watched the Creature Commandos, which is Gunn saying, this is my first canon entry into this. That animated show was so good.
Yeah, I was a tad disappointed, though, that it was adults only.
It was an interesting choice to make for the first foray.
See, I would have liked to make it something that, like, if you want to introduce your kids to it.
Oh, God, no.
And I know they're going to. James, like, the Superman movie is going to be for everyone.
It is.
It is. So so if you couldn't, your kids couldn't watch Creature Commandos.
Well, that's your main event. That is your main point to make today, is that if you are on HBO Max, just be prepared to be slightly disappointed.
True.
All the time.
Although the Superman, the documentary by Christopher Reeve, I watched that. I was crying.
Yeah.
I was crying. That was actually, for something on HBO Max, not a disappointment.
Right.
All right. We're almost out of time, Mark. Where can people find you, learn more about you, get to know you better?
Well, you can follow Unshaven Comics. We are at Unshaven Comics everywhere. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Blue Sky now, apparently.
Cool.
We have a YouTube channel, though there's not much on there. Bug us anywhere. And if you go to at Unshaven Comics and write anything, I promise you it goes pretty much to me.
And I think there's a pop-up video that comes up of Kyle trying to pitch you on stuff.
Maybe, but you can close it out. He won't even know.
He won't know that. And then, of course, I can be always found on all my socials at Elliot Serrano, 2 L's, 2 T's, and 2 R's. Well, for our first show, how do you think it went?
I mean, I think HBO is going to be a little mad, but otherwise, I think it went well.
All right. Well, next week, when we come back, we'll talk about the Royal Rumble, which should have aired by the time we come back. And we'll have lots of other topics to get into. And until then, thank you for listening to the Torn Quadcast here on WRMN 1410. We'll see you next time.